The group called the Bruno film part of a conspiracy. They said it was a conspiracy against the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades. Meanwhile, Ayman al.qaeda, the guy who was in the film, wants to sue Cohen because he says he's not even a member of Al-Aqsa, but is a member of the regional committee of Fatah. Now, you can bet Cohen will continue to deride Americans, Christians, and Jews, but will he be joking about terrorist organizations in his future films? Well, a guy who does a lot of joking, the actor Kelsey Grammer, best known for playing Dr. Fraser Crane, has revealed that he's been communicating with the dead.
What?
One of the people from the other side of life that Grammer has been conversing with is his sister, who was the victim of a tragic murder.
Oh, my God.
Kelsey's kid sister, Karen, was raped and stabbed to death 34 years ago by a juvenile gang. She was only 18 at the time. The actor also channels several other members of his family during his numerous seances and speaks with a guy named Alex, who Kelsey says was born 15 years before Christ.
Are you kidding?
Grammer said the murder of his sister triggered a self-destructive period in his life of substance abuse and failed relationships, and he's had a lot of other rough patches as well that include turbulent marriages, various addictions. He's even gone public with the admission that he was physically abused by at least one of his wives. Grammer believes his family is cursed. For months, Kelsey had been in great distress. He was anticipating that his sister's killer would be up for parole and that he would have to give testimony and actually see this vermin in person. He knew that he would have to convince the parole board, you know how they are these days, to block the release from prison of the leader of the gang who murdered his kid sister. People around him tried to convince him not to go to this parole hearing in Colorado because he would come face to face with his sister's murderer for the first time. Thankfully for Kelsey, bad weather stalled his connecting flight. So Grammer's words were read to the parole board. Here's what they said. "This is a butcher. This is a monster." That's what Kelsey wrote. "Please consider when you wrestle with the fate of this man, the degree of suffering he has inflicted on his victims, but also the families of the victims. Karen was my best friend. I was her big brother. I was supposed to protect her. It very nearly destroyed me." This plea by Kelsey Grammer led to the board refusing the convicted murderer's application for parole, and now Kelsey won't have to worry about it until 2014. And because of your diligence, Michael, America doesn't have to worry about getting their daily dose of talk. Thanks again for being the media's sole holistic conservative. Back to you, my friend.
Hey, thanks for the report, James. It's Blue Monday on the Savage Nation. All right, play Blue Monday.
Blue Monday, how I hate Blue Monday. Got to work like a slave all day. Here come Tuesday, oh Tuesday. I'm so tired, got no time to play.
Both sides of the coin are the same when you think about it. A religious man, for example, wakes up in midlife. He looks around at the landscape of his life. What's happened to him, what's happened to his wife or his children, his relatives, and he starts to wonder. All of the self-denial, all of the pleasures that he denied, all of the prayer, all of the worship to God, and look what's happened to me, he thinks. Look what happened to my son, or look what happened to my daughter, or look what happened to my mother, or look how my father died. Does all of my prayer have any meaning? Why hasn't God heard my prayers? Have I been rewarded in this life for my devotion to the Lord, he thinks? The irreligious man, the atheist, awakens in midlife. He looks around at the landscape of his life. He sees what has happened to himself, his wife, his daughter, his sons, his sisters, his brothers, his mother, his father. He sees a landscape of humanity and their suffering. And he begins to wonder, did God punish me for not worshiping him? Have I been punished for leading a dissolute life? Should I become more religious? Should I abandon any of my ways? At a certain point, the good and the bad are the same. At a certain point, both sides of the coin make the coin. You know, I was thinking about this the other day. Take a guy like Red Skelton. You may remember him, you may not. Played a clown, did a good job. I loved him as a kid, didn't know much about him. As it turned out, the man painted. He painted schlocky paintings of clowns. What did he paint, 1,000 clown pictures? What was he trying to do? I thought about it the other day as a grown man. What do you think he was doing? He was trying to paint the clowns out of his own head. You see what I'm saying? In other words, there was a higher part of Red Skelton. In order for him to perform at all, there had to be a brilliant, high element within him, something spiritually higher, right? To be a performer like that. Because he didn't use dirty words. He didn't do anything with filthy, dirty language in order to get a laugh out of an audience. He actually used comedy to attract people, unlike the dirtbags on Showtime and HBO today. Every other word is F or MF or F and MF, 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 F, 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 MF. What'd you say? What'd you say? What'd you say? That's HBO's idea of comedy. Every other word, and that's not comedy, it's insanity. But Red Skelton didn't have to do that, so there was a higher element with him. But the clown he had to use inside himself to hit those notes. But he was depressed that he had to be a clown to get the audience to listen. He probably would rather have been the higher element within himself. Does this make sense to you? See, painted clowns all his life. I think to rid his mind of the clowns, you'd call them, what do they call them today? Everything they have a psychological word for, and they give you a drug to turn you into a Democrat. What would you call it today? Not the ghosts. In my day, they called it the shadow. Huh? No, not psychological terms. So they say inner demons. Now, everything's an inner demon. In other words, everything that's a human being, he's got an inner demon, take a pill, come back in 3 months, take another one. We'll see if that doesn't put down the psychosis. We'll give you another one that'll create the psychosis. What inner demon? It's inner selves. I recognized at age 18 through self-analysis for 5 straight years that if you peel away the onion and keep peeling away the onion of your own self, at the middle of it, you're going to find nothing. At the center of it all, there's nothing. So why peel anymore? So you pack the onion back up and you march forward, and that's it. What are you looking for inside? There's nothing there. Hello? Keep knocking. Keep a knocking, but you can't come in. Do you have that song for me right now? Because I know I'm going to get slammed now already with it. No, my God is within. Keep looking within, and you'll find God within the center of yourself. All right, yeah, I know. Jimmy Carter thought he met him in his living room because of the strychnine. I mean, that family drank enough strychnine for the guy to become the peacenik he is. You talk about the average person has nothing on the inside. The Jimmy Carter family with the strychnine and the snakes and seeing his lord and master in a living room. I don't know what he was wearing. I don't know, trousers, tweeds, a tuxedo.
Time ago.
Who's this? Keep a knocking, but you can't.
I hear you knocking. Go back where you've been.
Is she a stripper? She worked for LBJ in the back. Gail Storm was a stripper for LBJ, wasn't she? I don't know who she is. This is the Savage Nation. With God's will and your listenership, I shall return.
Savage. Michael Savage. Afternoons 3 to 7 on Talk 910 KNEW and online at 910KNEW.com.